welcome to our another session today where we are going to share about anxiety disorders and worries and what is our Ayurvedic perspective. Now, when we talk about anxieties, everyone might think that is it a topic to talk about? Is it something we need to know? Because if we all see in our life, at one point or the other, we all can get anxious. We all will have worries. That's a natural response to something which is around us, unknown, uncertain, and some aspect when we are going to face which we are not clear, some level of anxiety will come to everyone. Even if you are going to start a new job, you are going to meet someone, a new person, you are going to a new place even. Being anxious is natural. And then, in fact, this is a natural response to our certain those factors which we come across in our day-to-day life, whether it is work-related stress or some families aspect. Unknown fear also can hit us sometime and we become anxious. So question comes up, how come this anxiety, this natural phenomena of a human being nature can become a disorder? And why it become a disorder? And what are the outcomes of that? How anxiety, simple anxiety, can become a real panic attack? That is where we're going to talk about today. Now, when someone is anxious, nervous, and during the day when so many things are happening in one's life, those all issues, if someone is not able to process them effectively on a day-to-day basis, then what happens when you go to bed at the end of the day to sleep? One will carry all those thoughts, either the seen one or the unseen one, either certain events which has already happened during the day or certain unseen, unhappened event we will carry on with us in our bed. This is what we call as unprocessed thought. So when those thoughts are with us, what it will lead to, no matter whatever best time you have gone to sleep, one will not be in a position to, first of all, have a deep sleep. And when that deep sleep is not happening, means you are tossing and turning, and all those uncertain, unhappened, unresolved events will start coming in front of my eyes. And they end up making an individual, when they wake up, quite fatigued and tired. And now if this vicious cycle keep going, what happen? Naturally one will start getting a bit uncomfortable, lack of concentration will start happening, physical fatigueness, headache, tiredness, all these issues can start happening. And now, to overcome these, one will start making some choices, which in Ayurveda we call as your mistake of intellect. Because when you are in a stable state of mind, you will able to make right choices. But to counter these all sort of issues or impact which are happening in one's life, they will naturally try to go towards such thing what we call as stimulant. And what kind of stimulant someone will pick up? They might pick up in a cup of coffee. Someone might pick up in a cigarette, because whenever you feel anxious, nervous, you want to hang on to something. And to hang on to something is the first reaction of the body towards what you can easily get. So that's where a cup of coffee come up, or even a cigarette comes up, or you might would like to get a little bit more stimulant energy drinks or something, which will give you temporary very good relief. And you, or us, all of us, naturally start feeling that that's a solution. So that anxiety, which was in a very early stages of my issues, due to whatever reason in my life, now being tackled by an individual through these kind of stimulant, and one feel that that's the way I can carry on. But what happened, that cycle of having the stimulant can start making our nervous system more active. More active means it can become more hyperactive. Hyperactive means then the conduction from one neuron to the others, which is now natural physiology of the brain, start getting a bit more chaotic. And when that start becoming a bit chaotic, what will happen? One will not be able to focus on the job properly. One will not be able to finish that job in a timely manner. And when that situation is building, whether you are a student, whether you are a work pass, or even at home, when such situation happen, person will start getting a bit more anxious, more nervous, and that anxiety factor will start making that person's heartbeat goes more faster, lips start getting more dry, breathlessness will start happening, cold hand and feet will start happening. Again, person will start becoming a bit disturbed, that what is happening to me. So without thinking, without giving any much thought on that, that person will start hanging on to those solutions which he or she was picking up in an early stage. But when those hanging on solution now does not able to bring the result as desired, so one cup coffee is not sufficient for me to now overcome that feeling. I might end up into 2 or 3 cups. Now, 1 or 2 cigarettes are not going to affect, the person will get into a bit more habit of smoking. Then those energy drinks or whatever you call are not really going to do the job what they were doing at the first stage. So in that situation, what will do, either person will keep increasing the frequency of these intakes, or will start looking at something more stronger in the form of some drugs, or even natural, our one process which is becoming everywhere now, very commonly available, and even becoming more and more approved kind of intake like cigarette. So what is that, marijuana kind of spec? That's where people think that I can get into and feel. So what these all sort of substances will do, they will shut our brain for a while. So they will overcome that element of that chaotic aspect which was happening in our brain. Because in brain chemistry, if you look at, there are various part of the brains like hippocampus and amygdala. These are the one which act on these responses. So that will be getting in a bit more coating to not let that responses turn towards in a bit more fear or anxiety for the time being, like masking the situation, and person feel very good. But one will never able to find that one's how they have crossed that fine line of something which is okay to use and something become an overuse. So this mistake of intellect by an individual lead us to do those kind of activities, those kind of actions to be taken by an individual, that our simple natural reaction to certain things, what we call as being anxious, has now started becoming an anxiety disorder. Because this anxiety disorder does not make you to be in the bed all the time or not raising your temperature or any of the things. You don't worry too much about these things. But on a subtle level, when these things really start becoming a more and more stronger, one wonder why I am not feeling optimum in spite of my all effort. And suddenly these disorders or these anxiety disorders become a part of my life, where then whatever is happening, whether it is a same situation to get into a more fear and phobia or obsessive compulsive disorders or even separation disorders or some money issues are coming up. They're small things, part of our life, but now they're becoming so stronger that individual cannot handle them. And that's where one will start feeling more and more trouble, which require now medical intervention. And when the medical intervention is coming, what will happen whenever you are visiting your practitioner? His or her approach will be to mask some of the symptoms which you are sharing with your GP. And if you have a lot of sleep disturbance, sleep issues, that phobia which you are feeling all the time, they will put you on some kind of sleeping pill. Some will be advised to take some multivitamin. That is the solution will come. But everyone will then able to see that this is not really doing any good to me. And slowly that problem start becoming a big monster which can start attacking the individual in the form of either frustration, anger, or in the form of some kind of depression and a bit more deeper. And even in some people, it can become a real panic attack kind of situation. And that is where one look at some options available out, apart from the mainstream medicine, that what can be done. So in those options, when someone want to go out of this approach of the mainstream and try to look at what can be done other than sleeping pill. Many will try to look at towards the Ayurvedic approach. And when we look at from Ayurvedic approach to these issues, you will be able to see very clearly that this science give you again a complete holistic approach to this problem, because again, as we talk about with the other ailment in Ayurveda, the focus on this issue is not in relation to how to mask the symptom, but focus will be how we can correct the cause of the problem. And one thing which Ayurveda share with us all the time, that even though we all look like the same with the two eyes and two nostrils and two ears, but each individual is a unique book. Each individual is unique. And that uniqueness is given to us at our birth time. And that is known as your prakriti or your body type. And that body type will able to help you to understand that how that individual will react to these various factors in their life of anxieties or worries or fear. And the other factor which Ayurveda talk about while dealing with this particular issue which we are talking today is that there are three intelligence which are governing in our body each and every function. And out of them, three intelligence which are known as simple terminology like Vata, Pitta, Kapha, they are the Sanskrit word. Now, out of them, the one which is the prime one can impact on that part is known as Vata intelligence. Vata intelligence is what will show you when it is in a balanced state, the coordination between one neuron to the other, passing the messages to your different part of the body will help you to keep everything intact and every function can be performed properly. And even if you look at now what the outcome of this anxiety is happening to an individual, irrespective of whatever science you talk about, you will find naturally anxious person or anxiety disorders or panic attack will make individual nervous. Their hand and feet start getting cold, their mouth start becoming dry, their breathlessness is getting more, their heartbeat get more faster, what we call as fast heart rate, sleep disturbance we already talked about. And now if you relate these symptoms with a bit more understanding on Ayurvedic physiology, you will find that these are all outcome of Vata intelligence getting affected or aggravated. So, on a simple note, when an individual is approaching an Ayurvedic practitioner for the solution of this particular problem, that practitioner, if he or she is qualified in traditional understanding of Ayurveda, they will easily able to pick up that yes, there is a certain Vata imbalance in this individual and that's what I need to correct. And he will work out a plan for you. But sometime one wonder that when we look at, because again as I shared before, anxiety disorder is not something so much serious. So people sometimes don't give so much consideration to that, but when it start getting out of hand, they will start looking for some solution. And when someone goes to either to mainstream or to other, as I said, they will be advised about such medicine. But at the same time, if someone has gone to some other kind of practitioner, nowadays a lot of Even on your Google Auntie sites are so much information is there that you can get into meditation, you can drink a lot of water, you can eat healthy organic food, right? But one question one need to always remember, that when you are eating, even though you are eating super Ayurvedic or super organic food, but that food is incompatible to your body makeup, because when we will be looking for solution on a healthy terminology, majority of the practitioner out in the world will say eat lot of green, they will make you much more stable, they will detox your body. And all green, if you will look at what they are, which we call as our salad, they will be dry, they will be rough, they will be cold, which correlate with the Vata's qualities from an Ayurvedic perspective. No Ayurvedic practitioner who is following traditional Ayurvedic principle will ever be able to advise you to eat salad irrespective of the season, irrespective of your constitution, and irrespective of your age if you are suffering from the anxiety disorders. And then someone will say, okay, I can get into coffee, but yes, you don't drink normal coffee, you go for decaffeinated coffee. So when the decaffeinated coffee is coming up, what is difference between that coffee and the normal coffee? Nothing. Because as an Ayurvedic practitioner, you are trying to pick up the qualities of the substance, which again is dry, rough, bitter, which is going to again aggravate Vata. So that is where you will find that a difference comes up. And when someone is consuming these things during the day, and then he or she being told that you need to sit for meditation now, because meditation will calm your mind and your anxiety will be taken care of. Just think for a moment that when throughout the day I have eaten such things which are stimulant, which are vata aggravating, how my mind is going to be calmer now. By just closing my eyes is my meditation, or just going and sitting on the beach and putting some earplug in my ears will going to make my mind more calmer. And that is where one need to know what exact approach is of Ayurveda, because a lot of people nowadays come and talk about that I have seen so many Ayurvedic practitioners, right? They never tell me don't eat salad, don't drink coffee. You always talk about these things, or I have seen some other Ayurvedic graduates which come from your college you run in Australia, and they also talk about same sort of things, that don't eat this and don't do that. What I should understand? My answer is very simple to every one of those people, that look, if you are keen to know the difference, you don't need to believe me, you don't need to believe my practitioners, you need to believe on yourself. If you have followed those approaches which are given by other practitioner, or including some of those Ayurvedic practitioners, if those approach advices would have worked, you will never go and find someone else to help you. Answer is already in front of you, that you have not been able to get over your problem of this anxiety, and you are becoming anxious and nervous already, that my problem is not being tackled by those activities, those advices, and you are looking for something else. And that is where you are today here. And if I will be also advising you same thing, you will find what is difference. And that's what the difference you are looking for. And that is what the solution we are going to talk today, that how you can really overcome that problem which you have been suffering for such a long time. And again, don't believe on my word. Put them into action. It's all about action. Ayurveda is not about words or anything. Ayurveda is a practical science. Whatever is being taught in a real sense, in a correct form, when someone able to put that into action, they will see the result. Testimony is not something you have to talk about. Testimony will come in front of you, outcome through your action. So, what are the actions? Again, actions are not in the herbs which I will prescribe or someone else will prescribe. In Ayurveda, we have so many best Ayurvedic herbs which can correct your problem very quickly. But then that is not what you are looking for. You are looking for a permanent solution. And that is what an Ayurvedic practitioner will provide you. Yes, herbs like Brahmi, herbs like Mandukaparni, herbs like Ashwagandha, herbs like Jyotishmati, they all are wonderful. Jatamansi. These are some of the Sanskrit words to Ayurvedic herbs, but they are very effective. But they are of no use if you really want to correct your cause. So, for that, what one has to do, one has to follow a plan given by an Ayurvedic practitioner. So, what is that plan? Again, that plan is very simple but very effective. It only requires your commitment, your honesty, and on a daily basis, implementation of those regimes. We call them as our daily routines. The power of daily routine is what empower each individual to take care of their problems in their own hand, whether it is anxiety, and as I said, for anxieties and worries and panic attack, this is the most effective solution, because as in the beginning I shared with you, anxieties, worries or panic attack will only come when you are unknown. Unknown is overpowering you. Uncertainty in life is empowering us. But when that uncertainty or unknown is being taken away from you by empowering you with certain tools which will be explained to you, how you're going to use them to overcome your this uncertainty, you will be always feeling satisfied. You're always feeling that I am well equipped now. If something will happen in my life, I am able to use that. And that's what the whole part is. And what we have to equip for anxiety, because as shared before, anxiety is not an ailment. Anxiety is a natural reaction, natural phenomena in each individual to reflect to certain issues. But when that phenomena start becoming a phobia and monster, that's where it causes the problem. So focus is not to let that become a monster. So what I need to do for that? Very simple. Follow certain Ayurvedic routines. First routine is make sure, try to be out of your bed in the morning by 6 a.m. I won't say 4:30 a.m. or 5 a.m. No matter, because what happens when you are anxious and nervous, your sleep is never going to be deep and you are tossing and turning in the bed. But if you can wake up when you feel that now I'm not able to sleep, and then get into natural environment more and more early part of the day. And that early part of the day is known as a vata dominated time of the day. Because when we look at into Ayurveda more widely, in Ayurvedic principles, each part of the day is specifically described that which intelligence is dominated in that. and that intelligence will be able to do certain natural action and impact on each individual's body if you follow the rhythm of the natural cycle, natural rhythm of the environment, of the surroundings in which we are. And natural rhythm of this bigger macrocosm is the time aspect. So first part of the time is known as vata dominant time. If you wake up in that vata dominant time, means your body will naturally able to get more oxygen, because vata is naturally related with the prana. Prana means oxygen, and when you will have more oxygen, which is being minimized by the anxiety disorder. Now one will ask, okay, hang on, what do you mean by oxygen being minimized by anxiety or anxiety disorders or panic attack? Look at very simple. What happened? Whenever you are anxious and nervous, your mouth get dry, your heart rate start getting faster, you become more breathless, you feel fatigued. What are those things? They are simple indicators when your bodily cells are lacking prana. That is where that impact will start coming up. Most of us never able to really understand or never been told by someone that anxiety is not on a superficial level, that I am anxious, okay, no problem, I have taken something, I'm fine. No. When you are anxious or you are nervous or you are going through anxiety disorder, your bodily inside churning also keep happening. And when the bodily inside churning is happening, what that churning does, that churning take away from your bodily tissues your prana. You can easily see when you are anxious, you get into that mode of a closing up. Closing up also happen not only on the surface but in your inside the bodily cells also. So when that prana goes out, that is why it is important to replenish that prana in a timely manner. So one natural way of doing that is wake up in that time. So if you can wake up by 6 a.m., perfect. So that will go outside in the environment. You can go for walk even, and that breathing will, prana will be coming up to your bodily system naturally. And then the second thing what you need to do is, which you can do immediately once you wake up, is brush your teeth and scrape your tongue. Again, every person who have an anxiety, panic attack or those kind of things, you will always see the back part of your tongue will always have a bit thinner, light brownish, whitish coating on the back part of the tongue, and your tongue will be always dry. That coating actually is nothing but the accumulation of the toxin which your body has produced now due to these all imbalances going with you. And if you don't clear them, they will start going back into your system naturally. And that's where they will lead and deposit in those areas which are weak areas. In that anxiety disorder, weak area is your nervous system. So they can go and deposit there. Then the next important regime comes up, that you must make one simple drink which we call a simple detox drink in anxiety. In that again you can add ginger, lemon, honey, right? Reason of adding that is because you will find every anxiety disorder person or panic attack person, they will always suffer from constipation, and that constipation sometimes make them to go for loose bowel motion down the track, because that will turn into IBS issue, which is another further ailment. But constipation will be the longer period. And why that constipation? Because again that dryness and constriction in the lower part of your bowel, which will be again dominated by the vata intelligence. So that drink will help us to regulate your bowel. In the same way, there is another regime which we call as a nasya. That's a nasal drops. Very important. Again, in this anxiety, these nasal drops help to stabilize the two glands we have here, which we call them pituitary and pineal gland. Their functions are the one which get affected whenever someone has this anxieties and worries or panic attack situations happening, because these directly relate with the limbic system, and these are being governed by vata and pitta intelligence, so that where they will be getting affected when vata is affected in the nervous system. So that's what everyone should do. And then the biggest problem is every person, irrespective of your constitution, irrespective of your age, anyone who is going through this anxieties, disorders, or panic attack or worries, they always naturally like hot shower. And hot shower is a killer in anxiety disorders. If you're not going to stop your hot shower and keep taking whatever the best antioxidant in the world, your anxiety disorder never going to change. And that's where one need to make sure that you never go with the hot shower. But I'm not asking you to have cold shower. You will always have nice and warm. Extreme of everything is bad. That is where one need to remember. And then comes your most important thing, which you can always look at, because in this anxiety disorders, what goes out of your body is your prana. So that's where you must make an effort to, throughout the day, must get into deep breathing. How many times more you will do, more good you are. That's where another issue comes up. Many people think that, hang on, I'm into breathing practices and I follow certain activities where my breathing should be okay. But they don't understand that just doing some morning or evening routines for breathing is not going to help if you are going through this phase of anxiety, panic attacks, or so. Idea is you must throughout the day keep doing, because throughout the day you are going and experiencing these effects of anxiety. So if you don't replenish your prana in a timely manner, it's not going to wait for your morning practices or the evening practices. So that's where that part comes up. And then another very, very important part comes up in that that person will always feel cold hand and feet, which is related with your circulation. So rather than waiting for some antioxidant or some 6 omegas or 12 omegas or some kind of so called supplement to take, or another some zinc and magnesium to counter the cramp, you must get into a very simple regime. Empower yourself by giving yourself a self massage. And self massage, again, you must get into warm, cold pressed black sesame oil. Always do warm oil, because it is to counter the cold, it is counter the dryness, it counter the roughness, which are the impact of your anxiety. So that's what it will help. Then your diet, very simple principle, try to have warm and cooked, warm and cooked. Don't get into your smoothies, don't get into your organic salad, don't get into your those kombuchas and fermented stuff and kind of thing. They are not going to lead you anywhere. Simple, warm and cooked, nourishing, grounding food. Don't get into intermittent fasting for anxiety person. That is the biggest killer, because when you are having anxiety, you need to stabilize your vata, and when you are having 12 hours of that aspect and another 6 hours you are adding to fulfill that principle, by the time you already gone down. And when simple principle is, when you are weak, everyone can attack you, and when your system, your bodily system is weak, all the toxins which your body is building can attack you more strongly. So that is where the problem comes up to those who go with that sort of principle. So must make sure that regular eating, small eating, but regular eating is very essential. Never miss your breakfast when you are going through these anxieties, worries, and panic attack. So once you have done that, there is another thing to look at night time, because sleep is going to be your another issue. So rather than getting into sleeping pill, you must take in a glass of warm, non-homogenized milk. Never ever think of going into your these processed milks, almond milk, soya milk, or those kind of so-called other milk. Try to get into nature unless you are really lactose intolerant, which will you will find very few people will be there, and there is a reason and easy to detect that. That's not an issue that you have to go to lab. If you are a traditionally trained Ayurvedic practitioner, you are trained to pick up these kind of allergies or these kind of intolerances in each individual very effectively. And that's where your pulse examination, that's where your iridology, Ayurvedic iridology, help into that understanding. Your tongue examination, your questioning, threefold examination we call it. These things are trained in a way to each practitioner, make them well equipped that they can pick up these things very easily. So that glass of warm milk with certain simple kitchen herbs will help you to sleep like a log. What kind of things you can add? Ginger powder, cinnamon powder, cardamom powder, one or two threads of saffron, and then raw sugar you can add. These are the different things according to different constitution can be advised by a practitioner that will help you. So those are the few things which you need to look at when you are going to a solution for your anxieties and worries or those aspect. When you visit an Ayurvedic practitioner, they should be able to give you in a good plan for that. And now some of the Ayurvedic treatments are which are very beneficial. Out of them, Shirodhara is a one Ayurvedic treatment. If this treatment is provided effectively and correctly by a practitioner, you will find, if you have not slept for so many days, even in spite of your sleeping pills or other, with that treatment, you should be snoring on the table of that practitioner clinic. If you don't snore, it means you are not getting a good treatment and you should not be paying for that. That's how confident that practitioner will be who will offer you that treatment for your these problems. And then there are certain, yes, Ayurvedic formulations are very good. There is a one product known as Shanti Tone. There is a one specific oil known as Smadhi oil that is has a big role in balancing this issues of panic attack or phobia or anxiety disorders. These are the combination of our Ayurvedic herbs which I mentioned before. So, and then there is a one product known as Express, which one of the wonderful outcome of that based on my 42 years of practice, I can share with you that how wonderful that product is if people have some imbalances going in that. So those are the few things one can do to overcome such issues, and you don't need to rely on masking your symptom, and never try to mask. Now, the last one thing I will tell everyone who is going through these anxieties or worries or those kind of issues, you can download one app known as Chit Yog Sadhana app, which is developed by me. Why I am going to talk about that today? Again, because that app, in fact, is all simple principles, but once you get into that, it has 6 different stages based on your problem and give you a complete plan which you should follow. But the beauty and the strength of that app is that it make you to do the things, it remind you if you are missing something. And that's where the regularity is very essential for us to overcome our problem. And that's where that Chit Yog Sadhana app at the end of the day before you go to bed ask you, that remind you that have you completed your activity what you were supposed to do based on your what level you are on. And if you have not done that, so that you can next day do it very effectively. This is available for all, both like your Apple and Android phone. That's what you can do. Now, one another regime which we always advise. This is now a little bit more uh, deeper and more advanced. We don't give that in the first consultation, but we talk about that more in the processing of your thoughts and reviewing the day part. and then facing the mirror part. So these are the some of the additional aspect which someone who is going through these anxiety disorders or panic attack can expect from an Ayurvedic perspective, the solution for your problem, so that you can have a peaceful life. You don't end up into all the time fatigued, tired, or having a feeling of that I'm going down the hill. So hope that help you, and thanks everyone. If there will be any question, you can always email or ask us, and I will be happy to talk about that.